Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Sweet and Sour Soccer. If you're new here, this is not normally how we set up. I don't have a headset on. My speakers on my laptop have broken. And this man here went to the Grand National at the weekend, and you'll hear in a minute his voice. He doesn't normally sound like this. Now, if you're a regular, you know that we're frauds. We don't really know what we're doing. But if you're new, we're normally a lot better than what is about to come. However, guys, before we jump in, hit that like button. Please subscribe because we are going to talk about the top four race and Europe in general. Because after what's just happened at this weekend, Scott, it doesn't look like any club actually wants to play Champions League or Europa League football next season.
No, I agree. And I think the one thing about losing my voice is I actually sound like I've got a deeper voice for once. So I'm going to take it.
Yeah,
Um,
Batman,
and
brilliant.
I agree, to be fair. Like, you're completely right with what you've said. Massive weekend. I mean, as Wolves fans who were sitting there on the Friday night in despair, really, thinking we've blown our chance. And then everyone just lost. Everyone just lost. And, you know, it's hard to know which one of those results was the worst, really, out of the four. I mean, what do you think? Because obviously we're going to speak about Arsenal, United, West Ham, and obviously Wolves. Which one
Yeah.
out of those four was the worst?
I mean, I have no prizes for guessing who I'm going to say. I'm sure you'd agree. I'm sure even Manchester United fans would
Yeah.
agree what was the worst, and it was that defeat to Everton. Yes, Everton were at home, but it was just a manner of the defeat. There was just nothing about them at all. A deflected goal granted from Anthony Gordon, deflected off Harry Maguire, of all people. You cannot make it up for that guy at the moment. But you've got to say United, bringing it back to a Wolves point of view, we played on the Friday night. Now, doesn't matter if you support West Ham, Wolves, Man City, Burnley, doesn't matter. Every football fan knows Friday night football is either the best thing in the world or the worst. If you
Yeah.
lose that Friday night game, your weekend's ruined. You don't want to watch any football. But if you win that Friday game, you're buzzing. And we lose to Newcastle. So
Yeah, and I just thought that would allow everyone to kick on, to be honest, and like you have a bit more of momentum. And as you say, I think the United one was the worst. I mean, what's shocking, I mean, you can put Wolves and West Ham in the same ball. Both of us needed investment in January.
neither got
Both
it.
of us didn't get the investment. And I feel both of us are now suffering with our wafer thin squads. But what shocked me the most was when I was looking at Man United's bench. They don't actually have anyone that good on the bench anymore. They're actually looking quite bare. I mean, they had Pogba come on, but I think the fact that Pogba is on the bench just shows that his head's already out the club.
In the first
It
place,
really
yeah.
is
No,
shocking what's happening there. And, you know, everyone's speaking about getting the right man in. Man United fans, for me, I honestly think Man United are a club. It would take 5 years and £1 billion invested to get them back fighting up top. I really do.
that's not an idiotic thing to say. But you know what's even scarier for Manchester United fans? People were saying that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. Manchester United, let's finish on them. They are 6 points now behind Tottenham. They've played the same amount of games as Tottenham. Arsenal are 3 points ahead of United, but they have an extra game on Manchester United, albeit those games in hand for Arsenal are against Chelsea and Tottenham, which we will come on to. But Scott, United, they've played 31 games, 7 games left for them. They're already 6 points behind Tottenham. They're not getting Champions League, are they? I think we can just put them to one side.
I can't see it. I think Conte's starting to get a tune out of Tottenham, and 4 wins in the last 5 now. I think Tottenham are kicking on. I really do. And yeah, I'm probably going to throw it out there and say I think Tottenham actually get it from what I've seen. I do. And, you know, that kind of kicks us on a bit to talking about Arsenal and what's happening there. But Man United, they could finish anywhere. They could honestly finish anywhere from 5th to 8th. And, you know, I wouldn't argue with anyone too much about what they said in those positions, you know, because it could go any way at the moment. It really could.
I completely agree. It was a chance for West Ham to really make a marker on those European places. Now, of course, they are still in the Europa League. Sorry, excuse me. They had a very good draw against Lyon, and of course we've got that second leg coming up where there's no away goal rule in the Europa League. West Ham are sitting on 51 points, but they've played 32 games, the same as Wolves, so one more than Spurs and Man U, but two more than Arsenal. So they're currently level with Man U, 51. If they'd have beaten Brentford, which on paper you would expect West Ham to beat Brentford, they would have been 3 points clear of Manchester United. I know it was at Brentford, but that shouldn't really change much for West Ham, should it? That was a really, really big opportunity missed this weekend for the Hammers.
It was a massive opportunity missed. And when you actually look at, obviously, Brentford at the moment, one thing that you would say is they've come into a bit of form, haven't they, especially with Eriksen. There's no question over them.
4 wins out of 5.
Yeah, their survival chances now, they've survived. They're not even in the discussion. So there is that. Obviously, Ivan Toney's now found his striking threat again, whether that's because he's got in his head that maybe a club like West Ham, a United or Arsenal that are going to need a striker might come in for him, who knows. But you just wondered with West Ham, I think I touched on it, they're a bit of a paper-thin squad. They could have definitely done some defensive reinforcements, and that was before the whole thing with Zuma happened. And you just wonder if that's come to bite them. Maybe a bit of focus on Lyon, obviously coming up, a massive game, and a potential tie then leading on to someone like Barcelona in the next round. Maybe they took their eye off the ball, who knows? But yeah, it was a bit of a shock result, really. But they'll be delighted, I think, coming away from that result, seeing how the rest of the fixtures went. They might have got away with murder there, much like Wolves.
I don't think West Ham have got away with murder, and West Ham fans won't like me for bringing this up again. But in their last 6 games, they play Arsenal. They've got to play Chelsea. Their last game of the season is Manchester City. So I think it was a big problem for them this weekend. I think they needed these teams around them to drop points so they could get a bit of a buffer, because they still got to play Chelsea, Arsenal and Man City. They could get 6 points out of those games, don't get me wrong. They could realistically get none. I really think West Ham have missed a big, big trick this weekend, just like Wolves, who I want to come on to as well, and we're going to finish up with Arsenal. Scott, I stayed awake until 4 o'clock in the morning to watch that game. I think, apart from Brentford at home this season, where they played us off the park, I think that's our worst 45 minutes. Potentially since we got promoted. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't remember a lot of our games or all of our games from 3-4 years ago, but that first half against Newcastle could be the worst 45 I've seen.
I mean, I called it Nuno-esque, and, it reminded me of the last season of Nuno, and we don't want to jump into a Nuno debate, but
no. It
did felt really flat, didn't it? It felt like we'd gone back to playing for the second half, and then we actually lost in the second half. And look, I mean, West Ham could have done with some reinforcements in January, but I think it's more obvious that Wolves needed it more than anyone. You've got 3 fit midfielders, senior midfielders going in out of the January transfer window. One of them's 35 years old. The other, if we lose, we've lost everything, and that's Neves. The other one, Dendoncker, who I don't think is good enough. But having watched Luke Kundle play, yes, he was amazing in terms of being thrown into the deep end. But he doesn't seem up to the standard yet. And I can't believe I was literally sat there going, I wish we had Dendoncker. It's probably why I wouldn't be too concerned even if I was a West Ham fan at the moment with those fixtures, because I think we're really going to struggle to pick up points unless without Ruben Neves, I think we're really going to struggle.
Well, that win would have put us on 52 points. It would have put us 1 point above West Ham and Manchester United. A nice little cushion. West Ham are still in the Europa League. West Ham, Wolves, Arsenal, Manchester United. We're not in any other competitions. The League Cup's done. No, Wolves, Man U and Arsenal aren't in any European competition. We're not in the FA Cup. We've just got our league games. It really was a good chance for us. Just very quickly, do you think West Ham could win the Europa League and get into the Champions League that way? We know that there's no team gets sacrificed if they finish 4th, but a team outside win the Europa League. We know that already. Do you think they could do it? There's still some big teams in there, Barcelona being one.
It's going to be tough, and I think Thursday's going to be tough going away to Lyon. Look, West Ham, they haven't been in Europe for quite a while now. Coming up against a Lyon side that's very experienced in Europe, you just wonder if they'll have that bit more of a tactical way of doing it. And I think we saw that kind of in the 1-1. Obviously, they kept on drawing fouls. Of course, that led to Cresswell getting sent off. They spent a lot of time drawing fouls in that first game, and just having a bit more of that, knowing how to play a European ref. I just wonder if that's going to mean they come a bit unstuck. I think what's really interesting though is even if they end up out of the league, you look at this week's fixtures. Wolves miss out. We would have had Man City, but we miss out them being the FA Cup. United don't play at the weekend, but they then have to come to Liverpool and play Liverpool, I should say. And then West Ham, they have Burnley. Now, Burnley's not going to be an easy game because obviously they're fighting relegation for all their life. But
you'd rather play Burnley than Man City or
exactly. Well, apart from the win to Everton, you'd argue how much are they actually fighting? Because apart from beating Everton, they've lost 4 out of the last 5.
And they lose to Norwich after beating Everton. You can't make it up, can you?
So it's a real chance for West Ham, I think, to put a bit of a bit of a gap, a bit of a nice feeling, because then you've got Wolves then going up against Norwich, going up against obviously Brighton. Still got Norwich to play, still got Burnley to play as well. So there's some easier games in, but I think this weekend could be massive for West Ham.
Let's finish on Arsenal. Let's spend a little bit more time on Arsenal. We touched on them earlier. They've only played 30 games, so they've got 1 game in hand on both Manchester United and Spurs, and they've got 2 games in hand over West Ham. The problem for Arsenal is that their 2 games in hand are Chelsea and Spurs. So again, they could get nothing from that. Could they get 6 points? I don't think so. I can see them winning maybe 1 of them, maybe 3 points from the 2. I think 4 points they would take all day, but they could feasibly get none. You lose 3-0 to Crystal Palace, and then you lose to Brighton as well. It's reminiscent, and I know it's been said a lot online recently over the last few days. It goes back to Unai Emery when they bottled it. They lost to Brighton and Palace in, I think, successive games or 2 out of 3 games, really embarrassing defeats. What is it with Arsenal? Why do they do this? Why can they win 4 out of 5 and now they've lost 3 out of 5? And against teams that you wouldn't expect them to. I don't see them getting 4th.
I mean, I think it comes down to me. I mean, the sale of Aubameyang was an interesting one. Obviously, he fell out with Arteta, but what was criminal was not to replace him in any kind of form. Obviously, we all know that they were linked with a striker that ended up elsewhere, of course. But I think they're a very young team, and the problem is with a young team, yes, they've got talent. They've got your Martinellis, your Smiths Rowe, you've got your Odegaards, you've got your obviously your Saka.
Your boy, yeah.
You could go on with the young talent, but with that becomes inexperience at times. And I think that's what we're seeing. We've seen a big loss with Kieran Tierney. Obviously Tavares has come in, but he's been took off both times after 45 minutes. So we've seen a massive there too, party out. And with Arsenal, you just feel that maybe that's going to be what costs them. I said earlier on, I really fancy Spurs, unless they go full on Spursy, to be the ones to get 4th position now.
And this was their year. Out of the FA Cup in January, out of the League Cup in January, no European football. Just play 38 games a season. Just go and get 70, 75 points and solidify that 4th place. And if Arsenal do not get 4th this season, do not get Champions League football, again, I don't see them getting it for another 2 or 3 years. Sorry, Arsenal fans. You might not be in the Champions League for 8 to 10 years. When was the last time? 2016? That Bayern Munich 5-1, 10-2 again. It could be 10 years.
You'd argue that Arsenal have obviously improved this season, but I think it's really important to get Champions League, because I think they do need to bring in some experienced heads. But to do that, you're going to need some Champions League football. And I do agree with you. It might be a hard task.
I don't see how you can say they've improved. It's hard for me to say they've improved when they have they've only played a league campaign. They were knocked out in the FA Cup and League Cup in the early rounds, and they've had no European football. To me, Arsenal should have been third this season, if you're being completely honest. Chelsea got to the League Cup final. You know, they're in the FA Cup semi-final. They're in the Champions League quarter-final. Arsenal should have been above Chelsea. I don't know. For me, it's a really disappointing season for Arsenal. And it compounds if they don't get fourth. Scott, let's end the video here. Right, give me your 8th to 4th. So Wolves currently occupy 8th, Man United 7th, West Ham 6th, Arsenal 5th, Tottenham 4th. Give me your order from 8th to 4th.
I'm going to be very boring. I think it'll stay exactly as the table is now. Wolves 8th,
Really?
United 7th, West Ham 6th, Arsenal 5th, Tottenham 4th. I think that's how it stays. Yeah, very boring, but I think we'll see that at the end of the season.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I think that's how it finishes. If I had to say one position, what change would I think is most likely? Probably Man U finish 6th and West Ham 7th, but even then, I don't think that's likely.
No. I mean, we could have saved 16 minutes then and just gone, guys, everything's going to stay the same as it is. Thanks for watching.
Look at the table now, and whatever positions are in, that's how it's going to finish. And, you know, save 16 minutes.
Save my voice a bit as well.
And yeah, save me the embarrassment of wearing this, but hey ho. Guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this. A bit of a longer video this time on it. We've seen a few comments of people asking about longer videos, so we are doing one. If you are new, as we say, we are a general football channel. Hit that like button, please subscribe, and we will see you again towards the end of this week. I'll be doing my predictions videos, and Scott will have his championship predictions as well.
Indeed. Hopefully my voice will be better by then. And we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.